It's the start of the working week, time to take a look at your latest industry developments. Today there's coverage at Delta with some big news for their American network. SAS is expanding, and towards Jetstar, they're continuing their own route network expansion with their A321neo LR. Beginning with Delta, who have announced that they'll offer their largest ever schedule in Austin, Texas, representing a 20% increase in seat capacity across the summer 2023 schedule. As part of its overarching commitment, 11 new peak daily flights from Austin International Airport are slated to begin on April 22nd, 2024. Delta says for the very first time, it'll actually position the airport to access cities that travel towards more global connections. The airline adds that those flying through Texas can now travel on 50 peak day non-stop flights to 15 US airports. However, interestingly, the airline will specifically focus on including every hub it calls home on this network from Texas, which will make possible those global connections I briefly touched on. All these new flights added are slated to fly on dual-class regional jets per Delta. As a result, the company will offer First Class and Delta Comfort Plus to several destinations. Across Texas, Delta expects a 12% increase in peak day seats year over year during the busy summer. In Dallas, the schedule will see more options than ever before to Boston and other key ports. However, starting in 2024, the airline will also introduce service to Seattle. While a significant focus has, yes, been placed on improving across the United States, the airline adds that connectivity towards Mexico City and Amsterdam will also be present. This will be with thanks to their various partners. Delta will now serve Nashville with 3 daily flights. Delta does say that these services will be essential in connecting the two entertainment capitals in the United States. Meanwhile, McAllen will see 3 daily flights. Raleigh-Durham will see an extra daily flight, which makes for 3. Delta says the additional flight will provide enhancement towards the Research Triangle in North Carolina. Cincinnati will actually see 2 daily flights up from the previous one, and there are further route adjustments. On your screen now is 2024's route map from Austin, plus additional connectivity to, as mentioned, Amsterdam and Mexico. You're more than welcome to pause the video now if you'd like to take a better look at this. But on to the next topic of today, that sits with SAS, that have unveiled plans to boost their summer flying schedule towards some pretty important international markets. A decision does come following substantial increases in demand across locations within the United States and Asia. SAS says it will be increasing the frequency of its Copenhagen to New York JFK service to twice daily. Interestingly, both flights will be operated by the Airbus A321LR. This aircraft type is becoming very popular with operators across transatlantic routes, but it shouldn't be limited to just there. The last story of the day takes a look at Jetstar and their route expansion, and guess what? Well, they're also utilizing the A321LR to their advantage. Back to SAS though. Boston will also be the subject of an increase of 1 additional weekly flight, bringing the total from a previous 6 to daily. SAS says the Airbus A350 is operated on this service, which will therefore double the amount of seats offered. Canada will also see a boost in flying with a 4th weekly flight from Copenhagen often towards Toronto. The carrier notes that the adjusted departure time will make connecting in Copenhagen easier. Despite focus on North America, SAS is also seeing rising demand for destination within Asia, which is reflected in the further adjustments that it has made. With the Easter period being typically busy for them, SAS is addressing the need for more services by extending flights to Bangkok. As part of this change, the extension will run with a weekly flight until April 20th, 2024. Lastly, SAS says that from April 25th, 2024, the routes to Shanghai and Tokyo will increase 3 to 4 times a week. As a result, further capacity will be offered for passenger, but also the company makes notes for freighter needs too. Following the adjustments in flying announced by the company, it will offer a pretty robust schedule to many destinations around the world. The following destinations will feature in 2024 for the summer program on an international front: New York with Newark and JFK, Sydney, Chicago, Boston, Washington DC, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Miami until April 7th, Tokyo, Toronto, Shanghai, Bangkok until April 20th, with again that reminder there that this is an extension on what was previously agreed. Despite the recent expansion, SAS is a company that has been known for its fair share of struggles, evidenced only by a reduction in the fleet most recently and other core changes. However, at the beginning of October 2023, SAS revealed it had selected the winner of a long-standing bid for a takeover of some capacity. As part of the news, Air France-KLM would take a stake in SAS to help shape the carrier better for the future. Following the decision, the airline hopefully has an exciting future and has already made various changes to the way it operates, and more will likely come as the Air France-KLM group takes a more closer eye on their operations and how the company can benefit them. On to the final story of today, that sits with Jetstar in Australia, which once again is expanding aggressively, this time from Perth in Western Australia in 2024. Jetstar confirms that from August 2024, the company will start flying between Perth and Singapore Changi 6 times a week. Additionally, the company will serve Phuket with a 4 times weekly flight. Following these 2 confirmed journeys, the airline says it will also begin a 4 times weekly service to Bangkok. Again, this is all from Perth in Western Australia. This latest announcement from the low-cost carrier, which is part of the Qantas Group, comes as they look to enhance their operations across the state by providing new affordable fares to markets that they see are in demand. Jetstar's newest announcement of service expansion from Perth actually comes following a host of boosts in flying and new routes being revealed on its international network, largely across, say, the last 6 months. For the airline, the arrival and introduction of a new type across the past year, that being the A321neo LR, has made all of this possible. Jetstar notes that the Airbus narrowbody will operate all 3 of the new services as it looks to bring efficiency to its operations. 4 of the aircraft will be based in Western Australia to facilitate further expansion and, of course, these newly announced routes. Ultimately, the arrival of this aircraft has been also hugely influential in easing pressures on their existing 787 Dreamliner operation. Previously, as you may recall, the 787 had been taking up a large bulk of the international services. And while there was nothing wrong with this, since the narrow-body arrival from Airbus, the airline has been able to redeploy some of its Dreamliners to more in-demand services and leverage the A321neo LR's capabilities to access more markets. The aircraft is significant and can be a massive success in markets such as those within Asia, which represent a significant bulk of where travel demand originates and heads for Australians. That is going to conclude today's aviation news recap. I wanted to thank you so much for your support here on the channel. It really does mean a lot. I hope you're enjoying the holiday period and getting some well-deserved time off, whether that is you're working or potentially you're still in the education system. Don't worry though, the videos are not going to stop here across the festive season. I've still got to work and the industry doesn't sleep. Please do take care. Also be safe. If you have any thoughts on the topics covered in today's update, you're more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Make sure you're staying tuned tomorrow at the same time for your latest industry developments, and there's another order to cover, so no doubt it will be another fascinating episode, if I do say so myself. Take care, and I'll see you then.
And we'll fly.